Imagine you're making nearly $500,000 a month by running Facebook ads to a high ticket offer, and then all of a sudden your revenue goes down by 25%. So every single month that you are not solving this problem, you are losing $125,000. So that's actually the exact situation that one of my clients was just in. And in this video right here, I'm going to give you the exact steps that we took them to get them back to where they were. Really quick, if you don't know me already, my name is Brice, and I've been in this online space running ads for nearly a decade. And this kind of account review and optimization is what I do all day, every day. And the 6 tips that I'm going to give you right here in this video are the exact same ones that I give to almost every single client that pays me thousands of dollars to go inside their account and take a look at what they're doing. So I'm just going to walk you through them in this video right here. So the very first thing that I always do is I take their landing pages and I drop them into this tool right here called Page Speed Insights. And if you've never done this, this is super useful to do, and it takes about 3 seconds. I can't tell you how many businesses I've worked with where I drop their landing page into this tool and it comes back saying it takes about 9 seconds for their page to load. If you're running ads, that is absolutely killing your conversions. Especially if you're using a tool like ClickFunnels, these pages load super slow. And when you're running ads, speed is super important. So one of the easiest things you can do is just move your landing page over to a tool that helps your page load faster. So like this is the tool that I use. This is called Convertry. And honestly, there's been so many clients where all we've done is take their landing page off of whatever tool they're using and move it onto this tool. And you don't have to rebuild your whole funnel, all of that stuff. So let's say you're on ClickFunnels or whatever, you've got your whole funnel built out there. You don't have to move the entire thing. All you have to do is take the one page that you are running ads to and move it onto here. And you will find that your page will start loading in seconds, and that will dramatically increase your conversions. The second thing that I look at is usually their campaign structure, or how they have things set up inside of their ad account. Because I run into a lot of accounts where people are still doing things like in the old way. So I would say this is usually people who are running like one campaign, one ad set, and one ad per ad set. So they're launching like a new campaign for basically every ad and every targeting that they want to run. Or they're just launching tons and tons of ad sets where they have one ad in each ad set. And they've got maybe like 50 ad sets all running at different individual interest targeting and individual lookalike audiences. All of that is like what I would say is kind of like the old way we were running ads a few years ago. There absolutely was a time where that's what you wanted to do, right? You wanted to have tons of different interest targeting, tons of different lookalikes, and just tons of ad sets in your campaigns. Today, we don't really do that as much anymore. So I would say our new campaign structure is way more simplified. We usually just have like 1 or 2 campaigns that we're running at any given time. And inside of those, we might have like 1 or 2 targetings that we're going after that are usually pretty broad. It's like a collection of lookalikes or a collection of interest targeting. Every now and then we'll test broad, but I still find with a lot of high ticket offers like broad, we don't run it as much broad as we do running like really big lookalikes and really big interest targetings. And then inside we will be running ads that have a lot of dynamic variables. So maybe we'll have like a few different images or a few different videos. We'll have 2 or 3 copies. We'll have 2 or 3 headlines. And giving the Facebook algorithm a lot of different variables to work with, we're finding gives us a much better CPA inside of our accounts. It's also a lot easier for us to manage because we end up having a much simpler campaign structure. So the third thing that I look at, and this is exactly what I told this company, was I looked at their campaign optimization event. So this is a super common one. They were running a book a call funnel and they were optimizing for leads. So basically they were saying like, hey, Facebook, here's my entire funnel. And the thing that I want you to do is go find me as many people who are going to give me their name and email, not people who are going to watch the VSL, not people who are going to fill out the application, not people who are going to book a call, not people who are actually good qualified calls, but just get me as many leads as possible. And so that conversion optimization event, the thing that you select inside the ads manager that you're telling Facebook, hey, here's what I want to go do. Facebook is then going to go and optimize everything that it's doing around getting more people to do that. And Facebook has tens of thousands of data points on every single person. And so it knows like who are the people who opt into a lot of stuff. Now for us, especially when we're running like call funnels, the thing that we really want is we want good qualified calls, not just leads, not just people who opt in, but actually good qualified calls on the phone. And so if you will actually just optimize for that, if you will tell Facebook, hey, I want you to get me good quality calls, and you'll just put the pixel on a thank you page where you're only sending good qualified calls there. What the algorithm will do is it will learn who those people are and it will go find more people like that. And so typically what we see when we do this is our cost per lead goes up, but our cost per qualified call comes way down because over time, the algorithm actually learns who are those people and it optimizes for people who are going to take that action. And so like one of the best tips is just like whatever you actually want the algorithm to get you, make sure you're optimizing for that event, because the algorithm is really good at getting you exactly what you asked for. But if you're asking for leads, very likely you're just going to get more leads. So the next thing that I talked about was their ad creatives. So very common, I go into ad accounts and you can see like they're not doing a ton of creative testing. They kind of found something that works for them, and then they do a couple different variations of that thing. So maybe it's like, you know, one has a blue background, one has a red background, one has a green background, whatever it is. Or maybe it's like, you know, one image of the founder and then there's like 2 or 3 kind of slight variations. There's not a ton of creatives inside the account. I will tell you, out of all the stuff we do for ad campaigns, the number one thing we do is make and launch new creative. And when I'm talking about the creative, what I mean is like the actual image or video that goes with the ad. Because when you think about like how ad fatigue sets in an account and how it happens, you know, as people see more and more of your ads, there's something called banner blindness. Like if someone just keeps seeing the same thing over and over and over again, they'll just kind of start to block it out. And so the thing that we test more than anything, and we launch more than anything, because it just kind of fatigues out more than anything, is the actual image or video of the ad. And depending on how much you're spending, like you might be launching new images or videos inside your account every single week, a couple times a week, but it's like your actual ad creatives is the most intensive part of actually running ads. And so if you haven't been testing those, and more importantly, you don't have a system to like every single week, look at the ones that are working, create some variations of the ones that are working, and then come up with new ideas and get those inside the account, like that is the most important thing that we have found it takes to be able to maintain levels of spend once we've actually got something working inside an ad account. And so the thing that I talked about with them, and this is the thing that I talk about with tons of my consulting clients, is just like, what does that process actually look like? Like, how do you have a process to regularly go create new ads and create variations of the stuff that's working and get that inside your ad account? So what you can be doing is like learning from what's working, but making sure that a user on the platform isn't just seeing the exact same ad over and over again, but they're seeing lots of variations from you. And the messaging can be the same, but the actual like thing that catches their eye in a fraction of a second, that changes. Moving on to my next point, the 5th point is actually the actual messaging of the ad copy. So again, another thing that I see that's very, very common with a lot of accounts is you get in there and they found a messaging that works. And so they've maybe got 3 or 4 different ad copies inside of their account, but it's mostly just remixes of the exact same thing. So it's like kind of saying the same thing, but slightly differently. Maybe one copy's a little longer, maybe one's a little shorter, but it's like more or less hitting on the same pain point to the same avatar who's like more or less at the same stage of awareness or like same stage in their journey to like solving this problem. Now, when I look in our best ad accounts, we have a ton of different messaging. So we've got different avatars that we're speaking to who are at different stages of awareness or a different stage in the process of solving that problem that we help them solve. And we are speaking to a ton of different pain points. So we might have like one copy framework that we find works really well, but then we've got it remixed in dozens of different ways. So we're talking to lots of different people because there's lots of different reasons why someone might want to buy your program. There's lots of different problems that someone might have that might get them to pay attention to what you're doing. And there's a lot of different backgrounds that people come from that might want to join your program or buy your service, right? So there's probably a lot of different reasons why someone might pay attention. And so what we have found works best is having a lot of diversity in the copy for our accounts. And again, I'm not saying that you need to like come up with tons and tons of wildly different stuff. We pretty much have like a couple of different frameworks that we find work super well. But the thing that changes the most is like the first 2 to 3 sentences of the ad, because maybe we're finding like a different pain point or a different benefit, or we're trying to speak to a different avatar who has a slightly different background. And we're trying to find ways to capture their attention and get them into our funnel and our sales process and get them to pay attention to the thing that we are trying to promote. And the very last one here, and I would say this one's super important, especially if you've been in business for a couple of years, is go online and Google yourself and start looking at what comes up when you type in your brand name and reviews. Because I can't tell you the amount of companies that I've talked to who they start to see their sales drop. And one of the things that's happening is like they have someone who bought their program and wasn't super happy about it, and then just decided to go online and like badmouth them a bunch. And so when you start Googling their name, the first thing that comes up is like either a Reddit thread or a Trustpilot review that doesn't look good. And it's kind of unfortunate because like I think Reddit and the search engines have all figured out like Negative comments just generate a lot more clicks than positive ones. So you might have 50 really good reviews online, and the one that's going to come up to the top is probably the worst one. But you have to be aware of that, and you have to find a way to manage it. So when I've worked with clients in the past, like some of the stuff we figured out was like they had one really bad review on Trustpilot, but they didn't have a process to get reviews on Trustpilot. So we just started shifting some attention and energy into, hey, let's make sure when we get good reviews, we go and get them on Trustpilot. And now they've got something like 40, 50 reviews. They're all positive. There's just that one bad review on Trustpilot, but it's also surrounded by a ton of really good reviews. So you definitely want to keep an eye for like, what is people saying about your brand online, and how can you try to manage that reputation that you have online to make sure that when people search for you, they also find lots of good stuff about you too. So those are the 6 things. We talked about landing page load time and how oftentimes this is like one of the fastest wins you can have in an account. We talked about campaign structure and trying to have like a more simplified campaign structure these days, your campaign optimization event and like what you're actually telling Facebook you want to optimize for, your ad creative. So like what is the actual image or video you are running in the ad, the messaging. So like what's the copy and headline that you have around that ad creative, and then checking for third-party reviews and making sure you like actually have a process to manage your reputation online. All of those are super important. And as you are going to scale and as you're growing your online business, if you're running ads, like that is just a super important part of thing to pay attention to. So if you're running ads, I bet you could run through that exact same checklist for yourself, and you can probably find some optimization opportunities inside of there. So that's it. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you want some help with all this, just check out the links down in the description below. If you have any questions about this video, or maybe you have a different setup or things that you see work for you, just drop that down in the comments. We'd be super interested to hear, or hopefully answer some of your questions. Other than that, I've got a ton of other videos on this channel about all kinds of stuff like this, how we're setting up the funnels, how we're running ads, everything like that. So be sure to check those out. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day out there, and I hope to catch you in another video soon.